Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. And peace and blessings to the elect of Israel out there that's pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. This lesson is going to be about dealing with women. And whether they be a wife or a concubine. I'm going to go into the law first, and then go into what the Apostle Paul told, because they were in captivity and they couldn't keep the law to 100%, just like we are right now. This is Exodus 21:10. If he take him another wife, and her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. All right, so if you do take, because it is lawful for a man to have more than one woman, it's only going off if you deal with another man's woman. All right, that's adultery. But having more than one woman is, just called polygamy, and polygamy has been demonized in the Western world. All right, but it's completely lawful. And if you do take more than one woman, then you had to provide for her and do your husband duties to her. This is Deuteronomy 21:15. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and that Hebrew word hated just means to love less. You may not just be because you have your favorites. All right. You have your top 3 crushes or whatever in middle school. If you couldn't get one, then you try to pick up the other one. Same thing. But if you have both of them, you're going to prefer one over the other. But it says, if that happens, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and the firstborn son be heirs that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. Because it was lawful to for the firstborn to receive the bulk of the father's inheritance, and just because you preferred one wife over the other, you weren't supposed to give that son the bulk of that inheritance. All right, you're supposed to keep it to the firstborn. All right, no matter you couldn't let those emotions dictate that judgment. All right, meaning you were still supposed to provide for that wife too. Let's see, and then dealing with women from the other nations, it is, the Lord, whenever he had Israelites conquer a new land, he'd either tell them to, destroy everything in it, or, just take over the land, and then you could lead the men into captivity, the women into captivity. You might could take the women, all right? But this is Deuteronomy 7, and I'm going to I'll start at 1. When the Lord thy power shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater than and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy power shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them, and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. So this was a case where he wanted all those heathens, wiped out. All right. It says, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. All right. and the Bible, often warns about that. When Jake does start dealing with these heathen women, they start practicing their custom. All right, even King Solomon was guilty of that. All right, um, but however, um, this is Deuteronomy 21, and let's see, I'm gonna start at. I'll start at 10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, all right, the other nations, and the Lord thy power hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive. All right, so once you conquered these people and you start, taking them captive, making them your servants, all right, making the men your servants, doing those hard, laborious jobs, and making those women, cook and clean around your house. It says, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman. So like, damn, she thick, all right, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. You want to get in there, man. You said, I want to wife her, all right? It says, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and pare her nails. So there's still a procedure to go through. All right, you're supposed to, shave her head, all right, because the scriptures describe the woman, her beauty being her head, and that was a way of humbling her, all right, making her know that, hey, we're doing things different around here, all right, and pare her nails, which means another word for cut, cut them short, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. So you had to wait a whole month before you could really, get with her like that. Plus, if you shave her head and cut her nails all the way back, then you most likely don't want to be dealing with her anyways. She'll be bald headed and shit. Um, but this was giving her time to mourn and like adjust to her new life, man. And after that, thou shalt go in unto her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. All right. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make her merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. And that another word for humbled is affliction. Because you put her through all that, and now you're gonna sell her off. No, she like, she's a free woman now. All right. If a man have two wives, one below, and yeah, I already read that. But yeah, that was like how to deal with the heathen women, man. Now let's go into, or I'll start at Ecclesiasticus, because this is a good segue into, Apocrypha, then New Testament, just to be in some kind of order. This is the book of, it's also known as the book of Sirach, the 9th chapter, and a lot of these verses go in on how to deal with women. I'll start at 1. It says, be not jealous over the wife of thy bosom, and teach her not an evil lesson against thyself. Give not thy soul unto a woman, to set her foot upon thy substance. All right, so don't be, putting all your time and energy to go after a woman. Brother Kazak in Mississippi camp, he said, hey man, if the Most High wants you to have a woman, he'll put it on the spirit of a woman to start dealing with you. She'll start making the first move or whatever. Because if you put all your time and energy into her, she's gonna destroy you, man. It says, meet not with an harlot, lest thou fall into her snares. All right, and harlot is just another word for slut. All right, these promiscuous women out here, hey, they got a lot of traps. All right, they're just out for themselves, really. They're not looking for a hubby. All right, as they call it, a husband. They're looking for a bunch of men that they can trap up. All right. It says, use not much the company of a woman that is a singer, lest thou be taken with her attempts. Gaze not on a maid, that thou fall not by those things that are precious in her. All right. So it says, don't be checking her out, because she'll know how to, play you, man. Give not thy soul unto harlots, that thou lose not thine inheritance. Yeah, because hey man, you hear stories about Jake going to the strip club and losing, all their money, man, for no damn reason. All right, look not round about thee in the streets of the city, neither wander thou in the solitary place thereof. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. You know, it, Sirach is like, hey, don't even look at him, because that's true, because girls really like that, anyways. If you're focused on a certain goal and you're confident, and you're focused on one thing, they I don't know what about them, but they like that shit, right? If you don't put all your emotion and time with them, basically, just giving her what she needs, and taking what you want, they dig on that shit, man. Um, sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money with her at the wine, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. Because you know where that's gonna end up. Like I when I found out about this scripture, when I first heard it, my whole persona on in the world, like, that transition stage of, like, buddies in the world, um, their girlfriends. Like, I wouldn't talk to them or nothing unless if my buddy was around. All right. Because if you start talking to them, you're gonna start catching feelings, just like I think that's in Matthew. It says, uh, yeah, this is Matthew 28. Matthew 5 and 28. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. In his heart meaning mind. Because if you're sitting around, y'all are together and y'all listening to music and drinking a little yan, feeling, that those carnal lusts are gonna start building up. All right, y'all start laughing, because that's another thing too, man. There's a bunch of videos on like, how to pick up girls and stuff, and I'll be watching them. A lot of it is, body language and making her laugh. Be confident and make her laugh, and you can pretty much get any girl you want. But when a girl laughs, it produces that same chemical in her head of when she's having an orgasm. So, making her laugh a lot is kind of like basically foreplay. But let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. It says, now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. All right, because especially in these times, man, we don't really have time to be dealing with a woman. Our first and foremost, our priority should be getting edification and edifying. All right, learning and teaching. That's pretty much all you got time for, man. Especially with these days speeding up so fast. Shit. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife. Let every woman have her own husband. All right. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. Just saying, hey, look, your due benevolence, what's that? All right, the woman cooks, cleans, and takes care of the household. She might garden a little bit in the backyard or whatever. Doing the little small detail stuff. And then the man is, bringing home that dough and providing for him. But also, it's about to get into it. Verse 4, that the wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife. So you're not supposed to hold out on each other with sex, because, it goes into it. Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourself to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not in your incontinency. Right, and that word incontinency means like lacking self-control. All right, if you look up that word, actually, it's gonna pull up a bunch of uncontrollable, like bladder, like it's when you piss yourself like uncontrollably. All right, but really that means like uncontrollable. And this, of course, it's in the context of uncontrollable your desires, all right, your sexual desires. So to avoid that,